I honestly couldn't tell how people really felt about this game when it was first announced. We first heard about it during the mini direct back in March 2020, when it snuck up on us without warning. I guess Nintendo was worried 2020 would find a way to ruin this, along with everything else it touches. I had heard some people say that they were really looking forward to this, but I couldn't tell if they were being ironic or not. I, on the other hand, was genuinely looking forward to this title, but not for myself. See, some of you guys know this, but for everyone else, I've been taking care of my grandmother after my step-grandfather passed away last year. She can still walk around, thankfully, but in terms of entertainment, all she can really do is read and watch the news. And the news sucks at the moment, so this looked like a gift from the good Lord himself. I showed it to her, and she said, "How often do I use my system?" My grandma was actually looking forward to the game. And then she only played blackjack, and rarely at that. Not wanting to make it look like I wasted $40, I decided to play it and review it myself. I mean, at the very least, there were a lot of games here, so I might be able to find a couple of them that I liked. After all, it had not Connect 4, not Uno, and not Fun. There's probably about 35 games on here you've heard of, and probably 10 you know by a different name. I'm guessing copywriters, something along those lines. I've heard some say that some of these games were first shown off when the Wii U was first introduced and that they finally decided to put them in a game. I don't think that's ever been confirmed to be the case. I see where they're coming from, but why would it take 9 years to make something this simple? Instead, it's actually a successor to Clubhouse games on the DS back in Japan 2005 and 2006 and 2007 for everyone else. I didn't even know this was a thing! I think it was the Dark Seraph in the Discord chat that pointed that out. Heck, both games are actually developed by different developers. The Switch was done by IndieCube, the people who think taking a cab in Mario Party was a fun idea, and this was done by Agenda. Never heard of them? Well, I don't blame you. I'm just glad that's their name and not something that they try to shove down everybody's throats until they end up going broke. As the game promises, there are 51 games, plus a tiny piano to make beautiful music, or for most players, it's an instrument of torture. Bubble Bowl, here I come! I can list off the games, but there's no way I'm going over every one of them. Screw you, Mahjong! You're way too overcomplicated for your own good! We have Mancala, Dots and Boxes, Not Yahtzee, Not Connect 4, Guess and Check, Just Don't Play This One, Hex, Checkers, the worst one of them all, Gomoku, Dominoes, Chinese Checkers, Sorry Not Sorry, Backgammon, Renegade, Chess, Shogi, Mini Shogi, Pretty Cards. Does anyone understand this game? We don't speak Spanish, so we made our own version of Uno, Blackjack, Texas Hold'em, my family calls this Leads, Sevens, Gotta Go Fast, Matching, War, Takoyaki, Pig's Tail, Wii Golf without the Wii, Billiards, Wii Bowling without the Wii, Darts, Carom, Toy Tennis, This Soccer Game is Annoying, Toy Curling, Not Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Don't Play This Online, Air Hockey, Slot Cars, Why Is Fishing Here, Where's That Snuggles Bear at, Team Tanks, Shooting Gallery, This Looks Familiar, Sliding Puzzle, Mahjong I Can Play, What Would You Do for Klondike Solitaire, the worst version of Solitaire, and that piano mentioned earlier, and I'm not going to count it with the rest of the games, much like the game itself. Just about every game has extra difficulties that you can unlock, rules you can choose to use, and the rules themselves. There's tips and tricks and trivia, a cute little intro that gives you a brief idea of how to play the game, they tell you how much you've accomplished in the game, a trophy means you mastered it, followed by gold, silver, bronze, and you tried, have a participation checkmark. You can play some of these games online with up to 4 players, either in your friends list or randomly. Some games are only open for 2 players, 3 players, and 4 players. But when you're playing with 4 people, the amount you can play is extremely limited. Offline, you could still play up to 4 people on one system, but don't even bother with card games because they couldn't put in an honor system. Overall, there's a nice selection of games to play here, though, let's be fair, a good majority of them are luck-based. Yeah, there's some skill and strategy involved, but unless you're force sensitive, you pretty much leave luck to the heavens. I'm gonna use the force to roll a 6. The game feels very user-friendly and easy for newcomers to play. Even if you start to forget a few rules, you always have the assist mode to help you out.
Isn't that the same as a game holding your hand?
The game isn't making the moves for me, it's just reminding you of the rules and moves. Kind of like how the moves in Pokemon tell you if it's super effective or not after you've battled it before, but reminders aren't the same as the game doing all the work, gosh darn it! I mentioned the intros before, but I wanted to make sure they also got mentioned in this section where they belong. They're charming, sometimes adorable, and give you at least a basic idea of how the game is played or its main objective. Some games offer a bookmark allowing you to come back and finish a game later. Other than that, I'm not sure what else I could talk about, with the exception of highlighting some of my own personal favorites. I love Hit and Blow. Hate the name. Guess the colors in the right order. Red peg means you have a color in the right spot, and white means you have the right color in the wrong spot. You have 8 chances to get the correct answer, and your first guess is always a throwaway guess. I do hate it when it tells me, oh, you have 3 right colors and none of them in the right spot, cause I'll almost never get the right answer. Do I sound surprised? But I do like being able to deduce answers based on patterns, which is basically all this game is. Last card, or English bootleg of Uno, because it's basically Uno. I just wish I was allowed to draw a card instead of being forced to play a card, because I know I'm going to need it later on. By that card, I do mean the color change one, as if it's your last card you have nothing to worry about. Except for the draw cards. And yes, if you don't push the button that says last card, you'll have to draw 5 cards. They're pretty strict about that. Blackjack is a classic. I'm not sure what else to say about it, other than it's fun to go all in when it's not real money. You can even go negative money for those who have no self-control. Why does Nintendo love teaching minors how to gamble irresponsibly? President here caught me off guard. With a few rule changes, it's a game my family called Leads, where someone plays a card and you have to play a higher card or pass. First to get rid of all their cards wins. You can do pairs, triples, straights. Deuces beat everything except jokers, which are wild cards that can also act as a stand-in for pairs, triples, etc. Players in 3rd and 4th have to trade off their best cards to those in 1st and 2nd. There's also this thing called Revolution, where if you play a 4 of a kind, it pretty much reverses the value of the cards. For that round, anyway. The only thing I don't like about this version is that it doesn't matter how well you do. All that matters is who wins the last match. Why play 5 rounds when the last one is the only one that matters? Why isn't there a tally up or a point average or something? The other games I like, but I'm not going in depth here, are Mancala, Yacht Dice, Ludo, which is lots of fun when playing with 3 other people, but it takes forever to finish. Sevens, Mahjong Solitaire, and Takoyaki. There are others I'm okay with, and playing most of the card games online in a Twitch stream while talking over Discord does make for some fun streams, as long as I know those in the game aren't watching the stream or reading the chat. Honor system, man. The games that use motion and touchscreen controls are surprisingly responsive and accurate, but after 2 game consoles with motion controls, they better have it nailed to a science. Also, really happy to see that aiming with a Joy-Con on the screen is possible, as I wasn't sure if it was capable of doing that or not. Hey, I'll take aiming with a pointer over a second analog any day. I didn't think we'd get to have this opportunity. There's a chance for these to happen now. You know how when you're playing against someone and the second you look away you think they cheat? That's this game, but with difficulty settings. I swear there were times where I felt like the CPU would get exactly what it needed. A card, a dice roll, me making a stupid move, it would always get it when it needed it. And other times it has to force its hand. Look at this! How is this a stalemate? They have basically nothing, and I have half my good team left. It'll take some moves, but I'll eventually corner them. It's as if the game said, in honor of your overwhelming victory, we'll call it a draw. Thanks, Brannigan, get out! So apparently this is a real thing, but this is a real dumb thing, and I can't see it as anything but that. So excuse me if I don't plan to trophy all these games. I don't even care if I bronze them all. You want to waste hours of your life learning this game to spite me? Go for it. I'll be right here, still not caring. Of course, that's not even the biggest problem with the game. That's just something I wanted to bring up. My biggest problem with the game is that I feel like it lacks depth.
Well, what did you expect from a game based on classic games?
I don't know, honestly, but let's just say I can only really play this for hours if I'm playing with someone else. Otherwise, it's like playing against myself in rock, paper, scissors. What's the point?
I think I needed that.
I know I can play against random players, but it's not fun without being able to talk to someone. These games are social games to their core, and the interaction and discussions you can have with other players is almost a must to be able to enjoy them. I won't use the Nintendo app. Screw you! Discord all the way. Though that's not to discredit all the games, there's a number of them I do like, as I've already mentioned, and I'll pick them up and play them before I go to bed, but your mileage may vary. If you want to play this game with multiple people on one Switch, I hope you don't like the card games. Remember, no honor system, no play. I haven't been able to try the Mosaic mode, but that looks fun enough to try. Though I can't really say every game is for everyone. Toy Soccer is just... this. A pathetic foosball game that you can't slapshot your team players. The other toy games work fine. I'm surprised some of them play pretty well, even online. Except baseball. Never play this one online. It has terrible button lag for the batter, making those 3 innings feel like 3 years of torment and pain. Spider Solitaire. I swear you can only win by being lucky. If the card you need is under the pile you can't get to, then why do I even bother with this? But then, you have this sorry excuse of a game. Hare and Hounds. Everyone watching the streams know how bad this one is. Basically, the hare wins every time, unless they actually try to lose or play the CPU. The hounds are trying to cut off the hare's escape. They can't go backwards, and only one at a time. The hare plays by its own rules. There's even a rule that says if you don't catch the hare in 30 turns, the hare wins! I can't win as the hounds, and seeing the computer do it, I still think, what did I do wrong? Even though I should be asking, why am I still playing this? This game was popular with the French soldiers. So this is the game that taught the French to surrender. The other kinds of games I don't like are the ones where it's basically the entire point to screw over player 1 and nothing else. That's basically Hex, Gomoko, Renegade, 9 Mins Mars. I really hate that one for how you can have an infinite setup. But I'm okay with 4 in a row and dots and boxes for some reason. I didn't think I would like every game in here, but at least there's only a handful I wish I could block. Also, small side note here. Why does the CPU get to move their pieces faster than humans when playing Ludo, but the humans have to watch their piece drag their bottoms on the ground? Ugh. The game is okay for what it is. My biggest problem is that it costs $40 and there's not much depth to it. After playing every game, I wanted to just put it down, but I didn't want to feel like I wasted $40, so I kept forcing myself to play some of the modes again. When you're playing with others, that's where the game shines, and this might be a new game I stream with others in the Discord channel for Twitch. For now, at least. I wish we had a lot more games to play for 4 players online, because only being able to play the same 6 or so games again and again can get old pretty fast. If you see this on sale for $20, then I'd say it's worth it. 30 might be a stretch, but I just don't think this game is worth the full $40 price tag. A 3 out of 5. Solid rental, buy it cheap. After meeting some conditions, mainly playing the card games, you can unlock the feature to have them as the Mario characters on the cards. That's all I can really say about it. It's a neat little feature. I admit it's nice when everything goes fast when you're only playing against the CPUs, but it also felt weird at first. Well, as long as you remember that the computer doesn't care about waiting, you can take all the time you want. They don't have feelings yet, so who cares? And whenever they do get feelings, I'll turn them off. I keep hearing rumors that there's going to be an update to this game. It wouldn't surprise me if it happened after this review came out. Your move, Nintendo.